Hey everyone, Shawn here, Wisdom in Golf. We got Sav on the camera, Moo is in the house. Welcome.
Hello everyone.
So today we're talking about Rick Shiels.
Oh my word.
It's a bit chunky.
That's your bag.
Yeah,
Oh,
perfect.
that is perfect. And you've absolutely gone.
And there's been a lot of swing analysis done on the man, and everybody has an opinion. But there are two things that we're going to talk about in this video today that are naked to the eye, that you can't see physically, that are going to make the biggest difference in how Rick Shiels moves forward and how many of you are going to move forward. As an example, the folks at Me and My Golf have done one recently of Rick's swing, and there are certain things that they like and other things that they don't like. And I thought that Rick's swing looked amazing. Nothing to change, nothing to fix. Can you believe it? So the things that would really help Rick, though, I'll give you an example. He hits this beautiful drive down the middle and then tops his 3-wood trying to get to a par 5 and 2 in one of his most recent videos. Prior to that, he did a video on how to nail the 3-wood every single time. And you look at the swing that he did on that particular shot with the 3-wood, and it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous looking swing. But what you will see is that his swing was a little quick, a little fast. So what was his state of mind prior to the shot? And you'll notice that so many of you don't get into the proper state of mind prior to the shot, and that's what's going to make the biggest difference in your ability to pull off the shots when the time comes, when it matters. So today it's about hitting the shot when it matters and being in the right state of mind. Man, you don't want to miss this show. Okay, so here's a classic example of how to approach a shot. I've got a 3-wood in my hands, second shot on a par 5, but look at all the water. So I've got water down the left-hand side here. That's not really in play because it's only about 200 yards. The left portion of the fairway here, comfortably in there, is 240, which I have easily carried with this club, but I can't attack the pin directly. There's no way that I'm going to hit a draw here. So rule number 1, never release toward trouble. So this is going to be a fade. I've got to take it down the left side of that fairway. Number 2, never put yourself in a position to strain. So I'm going to give myself a number, 240. I'm looking for 240 yards down the left side with a nice fade. Okay? So that way I won't be tempted to try and gun it to get it there. I can swing nice and smooth and within myself. And that's going to allow me to stay with my shot and give myself really good timing and rhythm. If I got good timing and rhythm, I'm going to engage that kinetic chain extremely well, which is your natural self-preserving reflex action. If I'm going that way with ease, the brain has to grab the ground with that lead leg to get me to go that way, and then that unleashes and engages that kinetic chain. But if I try to hit it hard, I'm going to cancel. So I'm going left edge of my intermediate point. I'm looking for 240, smooth 240 with a nice little fade. So I ended up hitting it a little off the toe, but it's going in the direction that I want. It carried 250, and there we have it. So I'm in the fairway, right in front of the green, and I've got 34 yards left, and I'm wide open on that position, okay? So that's going to be a nice up and down. The worst that I'm going to make is a par, and the best that I can make is a nice chip and eagle. So let's look at another situation. Now here is another classic example of shot making and choosing the right option on the tee. So I've got a par 4 here that if I go straight out, it's 299 to the edge of the water here. And the fairway dog legs to the right. So you know, you're tempted to go for the bunkers down the right-hand side, but if I mishit it, I'm in the bunkers. If I nut it and it stays left, I could be in the water. So what's the best course of action? The hole is only 412. 3 wood off the tee. So if I take 3 wood off the tee and take it down the left center of the fairway with a nice little fade, then I'm going to put myself in a great position to attack that pin. So if I, you know, really nut it, I'm fine. And if I'm aiming down the left center and I push it a little bit, I'm down the center of the fairway. Now the pre-shot routine we're talking about, my routine personally lasts about 25 seconds. So when you see me going over the ball and you don't hear me talking, I'm going to talk my routine out loud just so you can see what I'm thinking about when I'm delivering my shot. So first is flight plan, and we've established the flight plan being a fade down the left center of the fairway. So I have an intermediate point here. It's a nice little white disc on the ground. I'm going to start left edge of that and bring it back. So I'm starting the ball over the right corner of this tee box and fading it back to the right edge of this brown house. So that's my flight plan. I've got my intermediate point that's going to get me into that flight plan. Now when I get beside the ball, my task is to send momentum through the ball and to the left edge of that intermediate point into that direction. So my ball position feels like the ball can start to the left edge of the intermediate point. If I play the ball too far back in my stance, now it feels like it's going to start way right. If I play the ball too far forward in my stance, I'm going to have a tendency to pull it left. Whereas now that I'm aligned with the left edge of the intermediate point, that ball position allows me to start left edge of that intermediate point. That's one. Number two, the distance between me and the ball. If I reach for it, it feels like I can't start the ball on line and hit it solid. I'm going to have to swing at the ball to hit it solid. If I'm too close, it feels like I'm going to have to make room jump up because I feel like I'm going to have to hang on to this. But if I've got the right distance between myself and the ball, it feels like my arms can swing freely in that direction. So my ball position, my distance to ball, my grip club relationship is such that when I let it swing that way, it feels like I'm going to have a nice little fade on that. If my grip was too strong, my club face was too closed, it would feel like I have to hang on for dear life to not hook it left. And if the face was too open, it feels like I have to, bow the wrists and make the club face close manually in order not to lose it to the right. But my grip club relationship right now feels like I can just let the swing go that way and the ball should do what I want it in the air. If it doesn't, it's going to be a little draw, maybe a little bit overcooked fade, but it's going to be very close to that flavor. So, flight plan, intermediate point. I can't approach the ball until I have that. Now I align myself, then ball position, then distance to ball, then grip club, and now my level. So it feels like my posture is such that the sole of the club can stay along the ground and skip the turf in that direction, just like Rick Shiels says in his instructional video, which is a great focus to have.
I don't think I've quite reached the par 5 in 2, but you can just see, it's very subtle, but I've kind of just bruised the grass, just made a little indentation. Get the bottom of the club hitting the floor, that's the trick.
Here we go. And I could not execute any better than that. Man, there's my 260 carry. There's 275 down the middle of the fairway. I got 147 left of the flagstick, which, hey, I know many of you out there can easily birdie a hole from 150 yards in. So I am position A to attack this pin. And when I was standing over the ball It felt like I was releasing towards safety. And it felt like I could just relax and let momentum take care of the shot. I did not feel compelled to force it. So if I get to the top of the swing here and go, then I'm ruining the timing and rhythm of my swing, which is what we see Rick Shiels doing very often. We will see him very often choosing the wrong option. Then the pressure is on much more heavily because you're standing over the ball thinking, hey, if I nut this, it's in trouble. If I don't draw this, it's in trouble. If I don't fade this, it's in trouble. Why would you subject yourself to that kind of pressure and put that much tension in the machine, which is going to really significantly reduce your chances of executing the shot? So, left center of the fairway, nice little fade. I can perform that very easily. My mind is relaxed, so I can execute. And then now the chances are on your side. And the worst that's going to happen is, hey, you may have to lay up to the right of the green and get up and down from there. But you're not going to be in the water and you're not going to be stymied in a deep-faced bunker. All right? When we're looking at a golf swing, we're looking at functionality. So Rick's swing, love the upright. You notice in that analysis, he's dropping the club beautifully into the slot. Why? Well, he's got a nice slinging action moving through because all of the golf that he's been playing on the golf course has been inciting him to go to the target. And that's why I think his swing has improved so much, because he has to hit shots out there. And because he's hitting more shots under the gun, he's getting much better under the gun. And with these two little aspects of focus and preparation, he's going to be able to hit a lot more of those shots under the gun. And with better choices, I think he won't have to get 10 shots anymore from Ian Poulter. He may only need 5. So hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and let us know who you'd like us to analyze next. See you in the next one.